Here in just a second, we have we want to give you some information on all the stuff that we're talking about. You go to glennbeck.com and sign up for the free email newsletter. It's going to go out tonight, and it's all of this, including a step-by-step instruction, a how-to guide on getting a law like this in your state. It really, we the people are the ones that have to stand up and challenge. If we don't do it, you're going to lose it. Next, we're going to open it up to the audience and talk to them. Yes. We haven't checked, but I'm really pretty sure civilist isn't a word. We're back with our special, The Civilest of Wars, part of the 9/12 Project. How are you going to take your country back? We're looking at a Montana gun law, and I invite you to, well, you know what? If you missed the earlier part of the show, sucks to be you. Maybe you should get here on time. We're here at 5 o'clock every day. We'll give you some more information. It's available on the internet, and just keep watching, so we'll bring you up to speed. First, Patty Ann, who you're always so talented and lovely. What are people saying on the internet?
Lots of questions, lots of comments. First of all, one question. If I'm a legislator, where do I go for that Patrick Henry caucus?
Carl, where do you go for the Patrick Henry thing?
Yeah, good. We just got our website up and fully running and fully functional. It still has some things we need to do with it, but it is thepatrickhenrycaucus.org. Thepatrickhenrycaucus.org. It's for legislators throughout the country, and 9/12ers are more than welcome to go there. We need to work together as citizens and legislators.
It's just crashed. By the way, you can go to the 912project.com and find some more information there. And I think there's already, I haven't seen the latest number. Has anybody been there lately? I think it's like 647,000 members all across the country now that are already saying that they're a 912er. Okay, what are some of the other questions?
Well, lots of the most interesting ones actually come from people overseas, and the scariest ones too. This from Russia. With your administration, you will be worse than Russia, worse than communism, worse than fascism. No one will be able to get the health care they need or the medicine they need.
I mean, that's not necessary. I don't want you watching anymore. You spooked me. You know, we were just talking over here in the break with Heather, and Heather, you said about New Jersey. Yeah. You're from New Jersey?
Yes.
My condolences. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I really am. All right, so you're from New Jersey. Have you ever seen The Sopranos? Different story. You said you would have liked to gotten out of New Jersey.
It's terrible. We pay over 50% of our income in taxes. We're not rich. I drive a 2002 Subaru. My husband drives a minivan, 2001.
Why do you hate the planet so much with that minivan?
Yeah. We have kids, so. Oh. But we want to move to a different state if we could, and with the federal government, is kind of following in New Jersey's footsteps. If you look at New Jersey, it's going, down the toilet. So we thought there was nowhere to move. But with these 30 states, maybe we can move to one of them.
Oh, you know what? Utah will take you. Texas, you guys are doing really well, right?
We are.
And Carl, do you in Utah have a surplus?
No, but we are doing better than almost every other state in the nation.
Not Texas. You have a surplus. How are you guys doing in Montana?
Yeah. We have space and we have freedom in Montana.
You have space and freedom in Montana. Yeah. You know what I thought of today? And let me go to Professor Buckner from Columbia University. Mr. Snotty, look down your nose at everyone. Let me ask you this, David. I thought of this today. I thought, if the federal government goes in and backs all these bad states, okay, they absorb it. Now I'm a taxpayer covering all of the state taxes. Why would there be a state tax? Why wouldn't the government just make one big, huge tax?
Oh, they might. And that may be the next step when we realize that we now rely upon the government to protect us or to provide for us, and that is those states that are going to the government. There may be all the reason in the world to do so.
Look at the Texan.
Judge may know better.
The Texan behind you is like, not in Texas, they won't. All right, hang on.
He's absolutely correct, but there's no authority in the Constitution for the feds to pay the debts of California or Massachusetts or New Jersey.
That's right.
None.
Haven't you seen the shredders they have down there? It's got zzz. All right, the obscure Supreme Court ruling in the early 1940s that really led to all of this madness. It was all over wheat with a farmer. We'll explain it next. From New York City, we are back with our special, The Civilest of Wars, how you can take your country back. Judge Andrew Napolitano, Fox News senior judicial analyst and author of Dred Scott's Revenge, which is a fantastic new book, which kind of deals with some of this. I mean, Dred Scott was a slave. The Supreme Court said, you know what, he's not really a person. Blacks aren't people. Sorry about that. And people stood up and said, yeah, excuse me, I don't think I'm going to listen to that Supreme Court. Eventually it was overturned, thank God.
Right. But the same principle was followed in Roe versus Wade when the Supreme Court said babies in the womb are not people, and therefore you can kill them up to the moment of birth. So the same logic prevailed 100 years later. Okay,
so we were talking before the break about something, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it was.
Wickard against Filburn.
Yes.
A farmer grows an acre of wheat in his backyard, and the feds come and say, you can't do it. You have to have a minimum of 12 acres. He said, who are you to tell me what I can grow in my backyard? It's my wheat. My wife grinds it into flour. She bakes bread, and we eat it here. I don't sell it. Not only does it not go interstate, it doesn't even leave my property. The Supreme Court said, oh, no. If we let a lot of other farmers do this, it might conceivably affect interstate commerce. Therefore, the managers of the economy in Washington can regulate what a farmer grows in his own backyard for his own uses. From that opinion spawned the ability of the federal government to use the Commerce Clause, the regulation of interstate commerce, of which the wheat was not, to regulate anything they want.
I'd like to hear from Gary and Judge and Kevin, because this is what you guys do. This is, I mean, this is the thing. And Gary, this is what your gun law is all about. It's the interstate clause, that the way they interpreted it with the wheat and everything else, this is what gives them the right to say, if I'm a baker and I'm just making donuts, that minimum wage applies to my employees because somehow or another my donuts, you know, might
end up in another state.
Or I bought the grease from another state to fry them in, right?
That's the logic.
And so this is what gave them all this creeping power. Kevin?
Well, it's true that what we have here is just a kind of enterprise among the judges, and legal academia backs this up to, we call it interpreting, but really it's ignoring the Constitution. The idea that the federal government was going to have control over only the interstate, and we completely ignored the main principle, which was, again, that local decisions were supposed to be made locally. Over time, the federal government has said, yeah, we can do anything. We have the Army, we can do anything.
Right. And
that is not constitutional.
And the reason why they wanted to control of interstate, or they didn't want to control, they wanted to regulate it, was because the states were fighting with each other.
Correct.
They were, right?
When they used the word regulate interstate commerce in the Constitution, the word meant to keep and make regular.
Right.
To make sure there is commerce, so not to ban it, tax it, or control it.
So if I were a baker and this is New York and this is New Jersey, I could come over with my donuts and I could sell them to New Jersey, and they couldn't say, whoa, 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 there's 100% tax on that donut because it's crossing. It was to make it all regular.
Correct.
Okay. We tie all of this together next. All right. In our closing minutes, I just want to share a couple of things with you. First of all, I just said before we went on, so what did we learn today? I don't really know. But Gary, the guy who started it all, and if you're watching in the Department of Homeland Security, it was Gary's fault. Gary, you're the guy who's come up with this idea of this law to take back states' rights. You're doing it now in Montana. So what did we learn today?
We learned that the federal government is not going to give up power willingly, but the federal government is the creation of the states. The states need to get a leash on their creature. They need to take back their 10th Amendment power. They need to do it with laws like this one. People across America, get your legislators to introduce this bill and others like it.
So who has the power to do this? Stand up if you have the power to do this. Those are the representatives. Stand up if you have the power to do this. Everybody has the power to do this. Everybody. By the way, to learn more about this and stories like these, sign up for my free email newsletter at glennbeck.com from New York. Good night, America.